Hey there, I am Rachel, and my project this week is this dresser. I picked it because one, my friend was giving it away or selling it for cheap, and then two, I knew it would be a pretty simple flip to do. So if you're maybe thinking about getting into furniture flipping yourself or redoing a piece for your own home, I think this is a great example that it has like good bones, it has dovetail drawers, but it's going to be pretty simple with like sanding, switching out the knobs for new hardware, and then giving it a fresh color just to give it a new look and bring it into the current time. So I'm excited to get started on it, so let's get going.
Hey there, I'm Rachel, busy mama of 4 who loves bringing new life to old furniture. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here.
The first things first is to get this cleaned up. Before I do, I'm going to remove all this old hardware and replace it with these long screws so I can still open and close the drawers as I need to. Next up is giving it a good clean. I am using a cleaner called Simple Green. It's obviously not what this bottle says, but I just have been reusing this bottle. So it's really inexpensive. Buy a big jug and you can dilute it down because it's concentrated, and it's a good degreaser. And you want to get all that dirt and grease off before going in with a sander. I'm gonna have to use some Goo Gone on whatever this is. Yeah, let's use something a little bit heavier duty there. I think that's the finish. So something must have dripped on this at some point and taken the finish and stain off. That's coming off real easily that way. I have to do a bit of extra sanding around this area just to get it nice and smooth for the paint, but it'd be too much of an issue. Famous last words sometimes though. You can see too inside the cavity of the dresser, it is very dirty. So I always like to give it a good wipe or vacuum, both when I'm initially working on it, and then when I come in to finish everything, I will do another wipe down just in case any other dust got in there, so everything's nice and clean for whoever buys it. You can also see that there are some issues with the drawer glides. I have already put in an order for some replacements, so hopefully that will be a pretty simple fix. Now that it is all cleaned up, it is time for scuff sanding. I'm going to be using a combination of my orbital sander for all the flat areas, and then like the curved areas on the front here, I'll be using the foam pads on my Surf Prep sander. It's something you could definitely hand sand with some kind of squishy sanding pad. I have those too. If you aren't wanting to invest in a Surf Prep sander yet, but it's really great investment if you can do that, if you're wanting to do it a bit more than just here and there. So I'm going to use 180 grit on here, and then this is a medium grit, which they say is like between a 120 and a 150. So good solid grit, get this all nice and ready for the primer. I'm going to show you too, because I was about to put on my respirator before sanding, and just how important it is to be protecting your lungs when you are working with any kind of product like this. So this is probably just from a few projects. You can see I was using black paint, but just it gets really dirty and you want to be able to switch them out. And so you are protecting your lungs and your health, because it's not something I want to take for granted. And like this respirator, it came with some replacements, and it's something that you can easily like find on Amazon to buy extras. And it's a really simple process of just snapping these covers off, switching it out, and then snapping it back on. Okay, it is all scuff sanded, so next up is to vacuum and wipe off all this dust, and I will also get the drawers covered and protected so no overspray gets into them. Just to make sure I really get into this crevice, because sometimes even with the foam abrasive, it's not going to get really tight into that nook. I'm going to use the sanding sponge and really kind of press in there. You don't have to do it too much, but just want to make sure I'm getting that slick surface scuffed up some so the paint sticks. To protect the drawers, I am using this combo of tape and plastic wrap. I got this a while back after seeing Lauren, furniture flipping teacher, recommend it, and I've been looking for something like this and it does not disappoint. So just use it to wrap it around here. And do it like that, and then it has this perforated cutter, I guess. Kind of reminds me of saran wrap. Cuts it off. You do want to be careful as you're unrolling the plastic that you don't, like, as it's coming out, that you don't scrape it against that perforation. It will cut the plastic. Ask me how I know. So I've definitely done that before, but gets these drawers nice and protected. And I may just tape it here and like 1 or 2 spots under the side so it stays well when I'm pulling the drawers in and out. I don't anticipate doing that too much, but especially as I put it in, I want this plastic to stay on there. All right, and now as I spray, the drawer will be protected from overspray, so I'll get the rest of these done and I'll get to priming. Okay, it is the next day. The primer has dried really well, and what I always like to do after my first round of primer is to just give it a thorough look over everywhere, because once you put primer on there, it's going to really highlight like the dings and those areas that you need to repair. So I'm going to do that and fill in any areas that I need to, do a nice light sanding to get it smoothed out because it is kind of rough. It generally always is, and then I'll get a second coat of primer on. Since these spots are rather shallow, I'm going to come in with this spot and glazing putty and fill them. It might take 2 rounds, but I think it'll work pretty well. I am all done with filling all those holes and cracks. These are all really shallow. If it was anything major, I would be using Bondo. So now I am going to use my surf prep sander with this squishy abrasive, and I will go all over all of it for doing that light sanding. I like using the squishy one because it's not really aggressive with the sanding, but it will still do a good job of smoothing everything out. And this is their fine grit. So my poor foam sanding attachment that I was using, I've used it so many times. I think it's just like been used, it's too fine. And so it was taking a while to try to take off this excess of the glazing putty. So I am just gonna go through with my little sanding sponge here. See, that's also well loved, and sand it smooth. And then I can get my primer on. Okay, it is
nighttime. I don't know if you can tell from the difference of the lighting, but I am going to sneak out here and do another quick sanding on here. It's looking really good. There might be like 1 or 2 spots that I need to fill, but I'm gonna get some paint on there. I was originally thinking that, originally I was thinking I was gonna go black, but I've been doing a lot of black pieces lately. Decided to change it up, and then I was thinking a dark green because that sells really well and looked good with the hardware that I've chosen. But then as I was sanding before, I was like, I just don't know if I want to do green. And then I was exchanging some messages with a follower on Instagram, and she has the prettiest name. It's Laisa. So pretty, unique. It's not a name I've heard of, but prior to this, but she said she had done a dresser similar to this one recently, and showed me a picture of it, and it was literally basically the exact same color of another one I was thinking of doing. So I'm going to use Leatherwood by Wise Owl. It's kind of like a darker tan. It's one that I've had for a while, just haven't found the right piece to use it, but after seeing her picture, it's what I'm going to use. So we'll get it on there as soon as I can. I am ready to spray, but I wanted to note a couple things before I did that. First, Wise Owl is a really fast drying paint, and for whatever reason, I have had trouble with it in the past, whether it be with texture, I've had it bubble up on me. A lot of people love the paint, swear by it, use it all the time, but I've honestly had a lot of trouble with it. But this is one I already had bought before, having all these issues. So I'm hoping to still use it, but decided to add this extender into it. I just picked it up at Sherwin-Williams. Floetrol is another good option, but I just followed the directions on the back for the ratio. And secondly, I am using my Wagner Flexio 5000 for putting the paint on. I know I was raving about my Erlex 5700. I do love it. It's amazing, but I'm being lazy and I don't want to wash it or like clean it out because I am planning on using that same primer on another project that you'll see. It's a custom for a client, and just trying to tag team on those projects to hopefully save some time. So like I said, this one works really great, so that's why I'm going to use it, and let's get some paint on there. All right, it is the next day and I'm out here checking out the dresser. It looks really good. There is a couple spots maybe have a little bit of texture, but I like how it dried a lot better this time. So definitely recommend adding some type of extender if you can. If you have a paint that's maybe giving you problems with texture. And so I'm going to get this lightly sanded down to get it nice and smooth and get hopefully a second last coat of paint on there. We'll see what it looks like afterward. A few of the drawers dried with a lot of texture on them, so I'm going to sand them smooth. I'm using a 220 grit since it's pretty rough, and I feel like my higher grit pads take a little too much effort to get through that, so I'll get that smoothed out, and I'll just put a coat on these that need a new one. Okay, I don't know what it is about my luck with this paint, but I've got these dots in a lot of places. You can see it here. I'm just not happy with it. So my plan is to dilute the paint down with some top coat to thin it out, and I will spray the entire piece after I've sanded. So I'm going to do that tomorrow just because, one, it'll be cooler, and two, I'm annoyed and I need a break. So I'm going to do that.
So now that all that painting fun is over with, I can move forward to get the last few things done on this drawer or dresser. So I don't know if you remember, basically all the drawer glides were broken in some capacity. Thankfully, I found this kit on Amazon that had the pieces that I need. Basically, I need to put this on the very back and then a new front piece here so the drawer stays hooked on there and will glide well. So I'm going to get these on there, get it nice and secure. I'm also, you can see a little sneak peek of the hardware. I'm putting that on, and I'm using a new tool as a bolt cutter. So I'll show you how I'm using that too. And so then my plan is to just put liner in the top drawers. I'm not going to do them in all this time. And then I need to just touch up some paint on the top here. So hopefully all those things won't take me too long, but it's exciting to finally almost be done because, man, I don't know what my problem is with the YSL paint. Like, why is it so hard for me? But it turned out beautiful. It was just more work than it should have been. So this screw did not want to come out at all. Brought my husband out here, tried to help. It just wasn't working. It stripped. It was stripping the screwdriver itself. So he had the great idea, and you can see it's already shredded. We already did this. There was just no way with our arms and everything in there that you were going to really see anything, but took just a drill bit and started drilling at the plastic to break it up. And he took this flathead screwdriver and basically like chipped it apart piece by piece and wedged it out of there. So it's going to make it much more manageable to get this out, just probably with some pliers.
After doing some research, one thing I saw said there was like rubber band that you could stick between the screw and the driver, and that wasn't working, and my husband tried those pliers. He couldn't get it at all. So another method I saw is that you could basically cut down into the metal to where then you could get a flathead driver in to unscrew it. So I'm using my multi-tool. I adjusted it so I could get this in here, and hopefully it'll work well. I've got my safety glasses on. Just gonna be really careful. Quarter turn by quarter turn. Slowly getting there, but it feels good to be winning. You as a challenge. Okay. Oh my word. I can't believe it's out. That was a lot of work. I'm gonna have to get one of those tools for strip screws, but at least this solution worked in the interim, and I'll put a new screw in there for the new piece.
This should go much easier, hopefully. So this little guy is the piece that was in there originally, I believe, or something super similar. So it just fits in here, and basically the screw is going to go through here and then attach down. And this keeps the drawer from, when you pull it open, from coming off the track on there. It's kind of a little difficult to get the drawer back up over through this. You can, it's just a lot of kind of pushing and maneuvering. So thankful to not be dealing with a screw that's messed up. Okay, yeah, now it seems to be seating. Just for giggles, I'm gonna use this. Pretty well. The last little piece that I'm going to replace is this bracket type deal back here. Get rid of this old one. Easy peasy. Those screws were not stripped. Throw that old piece away. And then I'm gonna use, they have both plastic and metal, but metal is much better, and thankfully it fits perfectly. And I'll just use these old screws because the screws that this kit came with were actually longer than what was on here, and it would go through the drawer back if I used them. So if you can, you know, keep pieces, definitely always do. You never know when you might need them. And now this should slide on there pretty well. But it goes on there, and this is the part you kind of got to do some shoving and finagling to get it up over it. There we go. Perfect. Yay! I won the battle. It was a good one, but I won it. I promise all the others weren't that hard. So this last drawer, this top middle drawer, gave me the same issue. So I had to use the multi-tool. It still wasn't like getting a good grip on it because it's like working through these is basically ruined the screwdriver, which is sad. I'll have to get another one because I love this set of screwdrivers. But what I did when that wasn't really working, I was like, well, maybe I could use this 90-degree tool again. And I put one of my drill bits in there, put it in there, and just pressed firmly with my stronger arm, my right arm, and it got a hold of it and screwed it out. So just sharing that, basically you just kind of have to try as many ways as you can, and my stubbornness paid off. All right, so my bolts are a little too long for the drawer fronts. There is a smaller screw that comes with this, but that one's too short. So enter in this bolt cutter. It's also like a wire cutter. So if I need to do any electrical work, which comes in super handy if you're needing to cut the outside of a wire, like the plastic, to shorten it. But neither here nor there. A little off subject, but this thing is pretty cool. I got it after seeing Lisa from Ivy Lane Home use it. So you just put it in there. I think that's about how much I need to cut off. And then I'm going to get between it and the dresser because I don't want it to fly and hit anything. You got to give it a good squeeze. But there you go. Get it on there. It might end up needing a little bit of encouragement to like seed in there and want to screw well, but sometimes you can just kind of screw it in there once and unscrew it and then do it again. Okay, that one worked. I had to hold on to it pretty snugly so it wouldn't spin, but it's good to go. Now I'm going to just hand paint the top here with a foam brush, and then on these top drawers, I don't like where you can see that red right there when you open it. So I'm going to paint up there as well. Thankfully, I don't have that on these lower drawers. I have to be careful that I don't have it go down drippy over the edge. And I wanted to come out there a bit. This is going to require 2, maybe 3 coats. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that I'm finally finished? It took much longer than I anticipated, but it's okay because I am really happy with how it turned out. I thought this color was really pretty. It suits the shape and the style of the dresser well. And, you know, going back to what I said about this being a beginner-friendly type flip, I think if you're looking for something that's simpler to flip, you want these flat drawers. There's not a whole lot going on. It's pretty easy. to sand and not gonna have too many things like surprising you. You know, switching out the hardware is pretty simple to do. It was really nice that I didn't have to drill new holes, so that's another thing you can look for. But overall, I thought it turned out really pretty. I'm gonna try listing it for $575. And so we'll see how it sells, and I'll keep you updated how it goes. So thanks so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch and support my channel. If you haven't yet, we'd love you to subscribe, and I will look forward to catching you on the next one.